Hey guys, it's been a little bit since an upload, but I have something exciting that I am very much looking forward to unboxing for the GR Corolla. I am doing some confirmation fitment and some testing of an intake, the 6th element intake, and I figured let's unbox this together because I am very excited. I don't know if my excitement shows through, but I love new car parts. And I know with this being a development platform, other people also like new car parts. So, let's see what we got. And one completed bill of materials, which will probably not be in most people's intake kits. Snazzy lanyard. Hold on. I can always be on board with a nice lanyard for my keys, especially because I don't have a lanyard for my keys. But besides an excessive amount of packing peanuts, which is always fun, let's see what we got. So, you know what? I'll just pick this up later. We have what I'm going to guess is an intake tube, nicely wrapped. Ooh. Very nice. Math housing, based on how I remember the engine bay. It's going to sit this way. Intake box will come down this direction. Got a nice, this math pad actually is freaking beautiful. That's gonna be absolutely gorgeous. This actually, with this being a prototype, I'm pretty sure this is actually 3D printed and then just bead blasted. So I don't know if you can really tell, but the finish on this for a 3D printed piece is absolutely gorgeous. So we got one piece. Let's see what's next. We have a hat, which I was not expecting, but ironically I also need I need a new baseball hat. And who doesn't want to be like a Porsche driver and advertise everything that they drive? Just kidding. Don't murder me, but seriously, other than maybe Mercedes drivers, they're pretty bad. We have okay, the piece de resistance. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to get all the frickin' peanuts out. Okay, so the piece, yeah, this is definitely 3D printed. So we have full enclosed intake box, clear plastic lid cover. You've got, as you can obviously tell, nice enclosed filter. This way you're at least keeping your intake air temps down by keeping this box enclosed. Logo on the side is a pass-through, so you're gonna get not really any, I wouldn't say any kind of gains, a little bit more noise. I'm always pro more blow-off valve noise and intake induction noises. Got nice just pop-ins for all the factory mounting locations. Got some nice, really nice hardware. And once I kind of get this wiped off, it'll be a little bit cleaner. Let's see, we should be missing the one other piece that is incredibly important that was a staple on why I loved this intake so much. Hold on. And this is it. So, while I brush this off very nicely, this is a replacement for the factory ram air duct that sits in the factory box. It's that little kind of curved piece. This is a straight through, matches right up with the factory one and functions in the exact same way. So this is minty and perfect, and one of the main things that I absolutely loved about this intake was that they reused this and didn't just get rid of it. Or excuse me, I shouldn't say reused, they redesigned and made it a smoother transition. we've got some silicone couplers, and I think that is about everything that is needed with this kit. So, we have silicone couplers, inlet tube, box, and rammer tube. I'm going to install this. I will show you guys the installation, and then we will get some. So, let's go over installation. Minimal tools that you're going to need. You'll need one small Phillips head screwdriver, 10 millimeter. You can use a 3/8 or a quarter, whatever you want. You really only need it in a couple places. And you will also need one flathead screwdriver. The flathead is going to be in order to remove these push clips. For me, this is an 11-in-1, so makes my life a little bit easier. So we're going to pop this 1, 2, 3. There's going to be 7 of these. You just put the flathead in between the edge and the lip, basically right in here. Put this here, push up or pop up, and then it'll loosen the retaining aspect of it. And then you'll be good to pop those out. Once those are out, set them to the side. You will be reusing them. Pop this piece off. You need access to these, which is the reason why. So at that point, you will make 2 more of the retaining clips. Got 1. 2, at which point you can take this up and off and it's out of the way. You can put that to the side. I would probably put that in your garage somewhere if you keep your OEM parts. I have a habit of doing that in case you ever go back to stock later on. First thing, I would probably recommend disconnecting this line. It's just a vacuum line. Little bit of love. It's, there you go. I just put my nail on the edge and just kind of popped it off. That's going to end up getting capped off. So for now, I just disconnected it and I'm setting it to the side. So I don't want to forget about it. You have, let's see, 1 clip here on the underside. Once that's disconnected, this will still be, the harness itself is still attached to the box right here. So I would recommend using your flathead again. Just kind of pull this lip edge up on the place where it's mounted and then just kind of wiggle it out and it's out of the box. Then, let's see, there's going to be 1 more here, your MAF. So you'll disconnect this. And let's see, it's the same system on the back side of this, so just kind of pull up a little bit and then you can feel from underneath. Honestly, this one might be easier once you remove the box. So for now, it's disconnected, it's pulled up slightly. I'm going to leave it for now. Then you'll need 10 millimeter. There's going to be a worm clamp back here, right where my finger is pointing. This is going to be just loosened until you can pull it off. these get a little sticky, so I disconnected that fully. You don't have to do that, it's kind of your discretion. Then this will, let's see, I like to squeeze the tube a little bit, kind of breaks the seal and gives you an easy chance to get it off. There's also going to be this rubber line that is kind of fit into this U channel on the factory one. Just pull that out. We have intake tube removed. Then the box just sits pretty nicely. Now this is where I was talking before about these, this clip that's holding this harness in for the MAF. There we go. Just kind of give it a pull and fully out. Now, if you're doing any shifter bushings or anything like that, now's the time. That's going to be these. If not, then you don't have to worry about it. Next step is going to be removing your MAF housing. This will be the, excuse me, put this here. Phillips head screwdriver. Just be careful when you do this, as most of you probably already are aware. Don't touch the sensor once you removed it. You don't want the oils from your hands getting on it. And in this case, this intake will come with new hardware, so you will not be reusing these screws. Set them to the side though, or I would recommend setting them to the side in case you need to go back to stock. This way you can keep all your OEM hardware and there's no questions asked in case someone randomly happens to notice. So, 1, 2, pull it out of the seat, and OEM MAF sensor. Obviously, be very careful, don't touch that. Definitely don't damage it. So I'm gonna set this to the side, and next step is taking this, setting this in here carefully. You'll notice there is a rubber gasket that will seat in here. This will only fit in one direction, but just to make this very clear for everybody, there is an arrow that is pointing downstream. So you are looking for that arrow to point towards your throttle body. That is the easiest way. It'll make everything easier for everybody. This way there are no mistakes. So then, let's see. Give me just a second. Sorry, if you hear the vibrating, it's because my phone, I'm getting an email. So in this situation, this is not the prettiest hardware because this is not the hardware that's going to be included with the kit. This is just hardware that I'm using. So there will not be washers and everything else that you are going to see when I show you what this looks like when it's completed. So once you get the MAF installed, you will make sure to tighten it down snugly. You do not want to tighten it down too tight, it'll strip it out, and then it just turns into a massive pain in the ass. So, there we go. Okay, so this will end up being what it looks like. Forget this hardware exists. It's going to be there, but it's not going to be like this. And we will go from there. Okay, to pick up, you will pull both worm clamps, both of the OEM worm clamps off your factory tube, and then you will have, obviously, one of them will be here, one of them will be situated down. This side attaches to the actual factory plastic inlet tube, and the other one will attach to the new tube. So I leave this semi-tight, enough that there's some maneuverability if I need it. It will just, silicone coupler will slide over the factory hard plastic, and then you can take your 10mm and just snug that down. I wouldn't recommend going real tight with it in case anything needs to be shifted. Okay, then you will have another factory one, at which point you can place that once it's loose over the new silicone hose, put the new tube in place. Now, when you put this in, you potentially will feel it bottom out against the plastic hard tube. I would push it all the way in and then pull it out some so that there's some give. You don't want those rubbing together. You'll get weird noises, harsh, your NVH is just gonna be terrible. And you don't want two solid pieces rubbing against each other anyway. You want to make sure though that when you put this in and you tighten it, that this worm clamp closest to this side is sitting over the bead on the edge of the tube. This way you're getting a nice firm seal. Next will be grabbing, let's see, trying to find it. What did I do with it? Next step, full intake box. Now there's already going to be an additional larger silicone clamp. I would recommend presetting your new clamps same way that you did on the other one. So for me, I'm gonna seat this on the box. I'm gonna loosen this clamp. And just so you guys know, the new clamps are an 8mm, not a 10. And if you're like me and you're doing this by yourself, it's kind of nice to have your tools preset. You will loosen that until it fits over the edge of this new silicone coupler. At which point, the one that is closest to the box, you can tighten that down since that's not going to move at all. The only one that potentially will need any kind of wiggle room will be the one that's attached to this tube. So, that's going all the way out. Okay, so now that that is in place, can see in this case I've just got it kind of loose. I'm going to grab my other clamp and I will set this box in here, making sure that this fits in snugly. As you can see, I just want it kind of nice, and you are looking for, let's take a look. There are 3 main mounting points for this. So you have, let's see. One, two, and where's the third one? The third one is in the back. So now, with this firmly mounted in place, you will kind of finagle all your couplers as you need them. So, in general, keep in mind not everything is set up in here yet. So this is now seated. You can see that if I need to move it, I can. So at this point, we'll go in. I'll take this clamp, tighten that down snugly, take the other clamp, loosen this all the way. There's really, you don't have to do this if you put it in place beforehand, but I didn't do that. That was my mistake. And this way still works just fine. Just loop it around, thread it back in, and then tighten it down. Once it's started, everything is significantly easier. If you have power tools, this is even easier. So, making sure that it's over the bead, the edge of the tube, so you're getting a nice firm seal. Kind of maneuver the bottom out. Let's see. Sort of like that. And snug her down. Snug her down. Okay. Anyway, then using your OEMs, which are 10s, this can now be tightened down. Go, 1 and 2. At this point, you can also see that there is a new ducting tube over here. You will move this, grab one of your OEM retaining pins, which are designed to fit here, push this into place, lock that down, and you are set there. That is now fully installed. You will take your MAF sensor, plug that back in. This, honestly, it's not in the way of anything. I'm not really too concerned about it. And let's see, you will need, let's see, off the factory air box, you will be pulling this sensor off. So this looks like it's probably an 8mm. Let me find out, since I have my 8mm right here. It is. So you will take this 8mm off, and give me 1 second. I'll remove that, and then I'll be back right after I get it done. Okay, we're back. So sensor is removed from the factory air box. In this situation, you will have the 8mm bolt. So I would recommend, it's going to be the opposite direction from the factory. Installing this here, bolt just goes through, and you just tighten this down. The reason I said to flip that 180 degrees is there's a little corner edge here that is taller than the surface that this is mating, the sensor is mating to. So if you have it the same direction, you're going to hit this lip before the actual bolt is tight. So at that point, you will plug this sensor back in. If I can find the correct orientation. There we go. You'll hear a nice little clickety click. Then go in, tighten that down, you're good. Now, last step, this vacuum line. This is wiggly, long, and will go all the way back here. You'll see it tee in to pretty much where your new silicone hose connects. Now what you're gonna do is pull it off. You don't need it, it's not gonna hurt anything. And there will be an included PVC cap. You will take this out of its nice little plastic baggy home. You'll go on here and just cap the line where this was. Now for me, that's a little loose. I'm honestly probably gonna zip tie that in place just to make sure that it's extra secure. These hoses, harnesses, and everything like that, just kind of tuck it out of the way. And then next step will be to put back all the factory stuff. So you have all the push pins that we removed earlier. So you'll have one. I would also recommend just putting these back and not pushing them down yet, because I've had a few of these not line up 100% without wiggling, and then it just becomes a pain in the ass. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's everything. Snap, 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 and we have one fully installed intake. So, better view from what I've been seeing. Replacement induction piece replaces the factory one completely. You have the actuator that has been plugged in. Everything's fine there. MAF. I'm hoping this will pick up what I'm looking at. Right here, you can see the T that vacuum line was connected to, and the rubber cap that has been just capping that off. MAF is back in, everything is tightened up, and we are good to get some sound clips.